Just as Amara's arm moved to throw her wine at the pair, both Emeka and Bisi ducked and the wine splashed, not on its intended targets, but on Adebayo's expensive suit jacket. The restaurant fell silent. Amara's eyes widened in horror as she realized what she had done. But before she could apologize, Adebayo turned to her with a mischievous glint in his eye. "You didn't need to splash wine to get my attention, you know," he said, his deep voice carrying across the now quiet restaurant. Then, to everyone's shock, he continued, "Although I must say it's a creative way for my future wife to call me over." Emeka and Bisi explained at the same time. "Future wife?" In the bustling streets of Lagos hummed with energy as the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the city's skyscrapers. Inside one of the most exclusive restaurants, a drama was unfolding that would change the course of several lives forever. Amara stood there, her tall, dark figure cutting an impressive silhouette in a stunning red dress of her own design. Her eyes, usually warm and kind, now blazed with fury as she faced her sister Bisi and ex-fiancé Emeka. The weight of betrayal and injustice pressed down on her shoulders, threatening to crush her spirit. "How could you do this to me?" Amara's voice trembled with anger. "I trusted you both." Bisi, a year older than Amara, but lacking her natural grace and beauty, sneered. "Oh, please. You're just an orphan we took in. Did you really think you belonged in our world? Just sign off the shares to us. You know how you don't belong in our world. Just look at how damaging your actions are to our reputation. If you have any moral fiber in you, you will do the right thing. Sign these documents and disappear." Emeka, looking uncomfortable but not intervening, stood silently by Bisi's side. His handsome face, once a source of comfort for Amara, now only brought pain. "I know what you did," Amara hissed, her hand tightening around a glass of red wine. "You set me up, took those photos and ruined my life. And for what? Jealousy?" As the heated exchange continued, a man sitting alone at the bar couldn't help but overhear Adebayo Okafor nurse his drink, his own troubles momentarily forgotten as he listened to the unfolding drama. Just as Amara's arm moved to throw her wine at the pair, both Emeka and Bisi ducked the wine and splashed, not on its intended targets, but on Adebayo's expensive suit jacket. The restaurant fell silent. Amara's eyes widened in horror as she realized what she had done. But before she could apologize, Adebayo turned to her with a mischievous glint in his eye. "You didn't need to splash wine to get my attention, you know," he said, his deep voice carrying across the now quiet restaurant. Then, to everyone's shock, he continued, "Although I must say, it's a creative way for my future wife to call me over." Emeka and Bisi exclaimed at the same time, "Future wife?" They looked at Amara and back at this strange man. Adebayo quickly moved to where Amara was standing and said, "Honey, let's get out of here. Enough of these losers." This made Emeka and Miss Bisi red on the face. As they walked out of the restaurant hand in hand, leaving a stunned Bisi and Emeka behind, Amara's mind raced. Who was this guy? Where had he helped her? And what did he mean by future wife? Once outside, Amara turned to face her mysterious savior. The street lights illuminated his strong features. He was undeniably handsome, with kind eyes that crinkled at the corners when he smiled. "Thank you for that. I don't know who you are, but why were you so nice to me instead of being upset with what I did to you?" Amara said, her heart still pounding from the encounter. The man's deep voice and brown eyes twinkled with amusement. "I'm Adebayo Okafor, and you are welcome. But I have a proposition for you." Amara raised an eyebrow, intrigued despite. "A proposition?" Adebayo nodded, his expression turning serious. "I need a wife. A pretend wife, that is. And you seem to need, well, a lot of things. What do you say we help each other out?" Adebayo liked the way Amara confidently stood for herself. He found it very attractive, and he thought she could do the pretend wife act very well. Amara hesitated, her mind willing with possibilities. This man was a stranger, but he had just saved her from public humiliation. And she was desperate. Her adopted family had taken everything from her. She had nowhere to go, no money, and her reputation was in tatters. What did she have to lose? "Okay," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm in, but I want to know why you need a pretend wife." Adebayo sighed, running a hand through his short, curly hair. "Oh, family pressure. I need to be married to keep my position as head of my company. It's kind of complicated, but I promise I'll explain everything. For now, can we agree to get married tomorrow at the local authorities?" Amara's head was spinning, but she nodded. "All right, tomorrow it is." As they parted ways for the night, Amara couldn't help but wonder what she had gotten herself into. Little did she know that this chance encounter would change her life forever. The next morning dawned bright and clear, a stark contrast to her turmoil in Amara's heart. She stood before the mirror in her tiny rented room, smoothing down the simple white dress she had designed years ago, never imagining she would wear it for a wedding like this. Her fingers traced the intricate beadwork on the bodice, each bead a testament of her skill and passion for fashion design. It was this talent that had first caught the eye of her adopted family, the Ademists, several years ago. Amara closed her eyes, remembering the day they had visited the orphanage. She had been sketching designs in a tattered book, her fingers stained with colored pencils. Mrs. Adeyemi had noticed, commenting on the beauty of the designs. Within weeks, Amara had been adopted, whisked away to a life of luxury she had never imagined. But the fairy tale hadn't lasted. Over the years, it became clear that Adeyemi saw her more as an asset than a daughter. They used her designs to boost their fashion empire, never giving her credit. And Bisi, their biological daughter, grew increasingly resentful of Amara's talent. A knock at the door jotted Amara from her memories. It was time. At the registry office, Amara found herself saying, "I do," to a man she barely knew. As they left, now legally husband and wife, Adebayo turned to her with a warm smile that made her heart skip a beat. "Thank you for doing this, Amara. I promise I'll make it worth your while. Now, let's go shopping. My wife needs a new wardrobe." Amara couldn't help but smile back. Maybe this arrangement wouldn't be so bad after all. Over the next few weeks, Amara settled into her new life as Mrs. Okafor. The Okafor mansion was a far cry from her tiny rented room, with its sprawling gardens and army of staff. Adebayo was kind and respectful, never pushing her boundaries. He gave her a beautiful room and made sure she had everything she needed. One evening, as we were having dinner in the grand dining room, Adebayo cleared his throat. "Amara, I hope you don't mind, but I did some research on you. I was impressed to learn that you are a talented fashion designer." Amara froze, a fork halfway to her mouth. How did you find that out? Oh, I have my ways. I need to know my wife, don't I? Adebayo said with a wink. Then his expression grew serious. But more importantly, I have a proposal for you. I own several companies, including a fashion brand. How would you like to be the new CEO? Amara's jaw dropped. The crystal chandelier above seemed to spin as she processed his words. Are you serious? But why? Because you have talent, and I believe in investing in talent, Adebayo said simply. Plus, it will make our marriage look more believable if you have a high-profile job in my company. Amara couldn't believe her luck. For years, her adopted family had used her designs without giving her credit. Now she had a chance to make a name for herself. I accept, she said, her eyes shining with excitement. The next few months were a whirlwind for Amara. She threw herself into her new role, breathing fresh life into Adebayo's fashion brand. Her innovative designs and keen business acumen quickly gained attention in the industry. One afternoon, as Amara was sketching in her office, her assistant knocked on the door. Mrs. Okafor, there's a charity auction this evening. Mr. Okafor asked me to remind you. Amara nodded, setting her sketchpad aside. As she got ready for the event, she couldn't help but feel nervous. It would be her first public appearance since the scandal, and she knew Bisi and Emeka were likely to be there. The grand hall of the auction house was a sea of glittering gowns and expensive suits. As Amara entered on Adebayo's arm, she felt eyes turn towards them. Whispers followed in their wake. Who was this stunning woman on the arm of one of Nigeria's most eligible bachelors? Across the room, Amara spotted Bisi and Emeka. Bisi's face twisted with anger and jealousy, while Emeka looked stunned, his eyes following Amara's every move. The auction began, and a beautiful vintage necklace caught Amara's eye. It was a delicate piece with intricate gold work and sparkling diamonds. Something about it seemed familiar, tugging at a distant memory. To her surprise, Adebayo started bidding on it. Bisi, seeing Amara's interest, began bidding as well, her face set in determination. The price climbed higher and higher. Bisi shot triumphant glances at Amara, clearly thinking she'd win. But with one final bid, Adebayo secured the necklace. As they went to collect their prize, Bisi stormed over, her expensive heels clicking angrily on the marble floor. You gold digger, she hissed at Amara. First you steal our family designs, now you are after his money? Before Amara could respond, Bisi raised her hand as if to slap her. In a flash, Adebayo was between them, his eyes blazing with a protective fury that took Amara's breath away. Don't you dare touch my wife, he said, his voice low and dangerous. If you ever come near her again, you will regret it. Bisi stumbled back, shock written all over her face. Emeka, who had been watching from a distance, looked equally stunned. As they left the auction, Amara felt a warmth spreading through her chest. No one had ever stood up for her like that before. She looked at Adebayo, seeing him in a new light. The next day, as Amara was having lunch in her favorite cafe, a familiar face approached her table. It was Emeka, looking nervous and out of place. Amara, he said, his voice soft. Can we talk? Against her better judgment, Amara nodded. gesturing for him to sit. "I've been thinking about you, Amara," Emeka said as soon as he sat down. "I made a mistake. I want you back." Amara's heart raced, but not from excitement. She felt angry. "Oh, now you want me back? Now that I'm married to a rich man, huh?" Emeka had the decency to look ashamed. "Oh, it's not like that. I realize now that I was wrong about you. Please, give me another chance." Amara leaned forward, her mind working quickly. This was her chance to clear her name once and for all. "I'll consider it on one condition. At your family party next weekend, you publicly announce that I never cheated on you. You admit that Bisi set me up." Emeka hesitated, then nodded. "All right, I'll do it." The following weekend, Amara attended the party with Adebayo. The Ademi mansion was just as she remembered it, opulent and cold. As promised, Emeka made this announcement, clearing Amara's name. Bisi looked furious, her face turning an ugly shade of red. Amara felt a weight lift off her shoulders. She walked up to Emeka and Bisi, a sweet smile on her face. "Thank you for that, Emeka. But you know what? I don't want either of you in my life. Goodbye." With that, she turned and walked away, leaving them gaping after her. Adebayo was waiting for her, a proud smile on his face. They drove home. Amara felt truly free for the first time in years. When the necklace from the auction arrived at their home, a few days later, Amara gasped as she opened the velvet box. "Adebayo, I think I recognize this necklace." Adebayo frowned, moving closer to look at the piece. "What do you mean?" "I think it belonged to my family, my real family, before I was adopted," Amara explained, her voice shaking. She traced the intricate patterns with a trembling finger. "I remember my mother wearing something like this. Can you find out where it came from?" Adebayo nodded, his eyes serious. "Of course, I'll get right on it." Over the next week, Amara threw herself into her work, trying not to think about the necklace and what it might mean. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something big was about to change. Finally, Adebayo called her into his study. His face was grim as she entered. "Amara, I found out where the necklace came from. And there is more. A lot more." Over the next hour, Adebayo explained what he'd discovered. The necklace had indeed belonged to Amara's birth family. After her parents died in a car accident, her uncle had taken over everything and dumped Amara and her younger brother in an orphanage. Now, the uncle had passed away, and his children were selling all family heirlooms to cover their debts. "And there is more," Adebayo said gently, taking Amara's hand. "The business that your adopted parents own, it used to belong to your birth family too. Your uncle sold it to them after he got rid of you and your brother." Amara felt like the room was spinning. Her whole life had been built on lies and betrayal. What does that mean? "It means we can get it all back," Adebayo said, determination in his voice. "Your inheritance, your family business, all of it, If you want to, that is. Amara nodded, tears in her eyes. Yes, I want to. But my brother, I need to find my brother. I have been trying to locate him all these years with no success. We'll find him, Adebayo promised, pulling her into a comforting embrace. We'll find him together. Over the next few months, Adebayo used all his resources to track down Amara's brother. It was a challenging process, filled with false leads and disappointments. But Amara refused to give up hope. Finally, through a distant relative, they found the family that had adopted Amara's brother. With nervous excitement, Amara and Adebayo flew to Abuja to meet him. The reunion was emotional. Amara's brother, now named Chidi, had grown into a kind, intelligent young man. As they hugged, years of loneliness and loss melted away. I never stopped looking for you, Chidi. Tears in his eyes. I always knew I had a sister out there, somewhere. As they caught up on lost years, Amara felt a piece of her heart fall back into place. She had a family again. Not just Chidi, but Adebayo too. A few weeks later, Amara and Chidi received startling news. A will had surfaced, indicating that their parents had left the majority of their estate and businesses to them, to be inherited when they turned 18 years old. However, their uncle had illegally seized control, dumping the two siblings into an orphanage. Filled with renewed sense of purpose, Amara and Chidi confronted their uncle's family, who were in the process of selling off the last of the family's assets. This belongs to us, Amara declared, holding up the copy of the will. Our parents left everything to me and Chidi. You had no right to take it all. The uncle's children, now middle-aged and wealthy, scoffed. That's ridiculous. Our father was the rightful heir. You two were just orphans taken in out of goodness of our hearts. Chidi stepped forward, his eyes narrowed. That's a lie, and you know it. You manipulated the authorities to seize our inheritance. Well, not anymore. We are taking it all back. Amara turned to the Ademis, her adopted family, who had been watching the confrontation with stunned expressions. And that includes your fashion business. It was ours to begin with. You stole my designs. You lied about them being Bisi's. You even used them to get her into a prestigious university. Well, no more. Bisi and her parents sputtered in outrage. You can't do this. That company is ours. Amara smiled, a triumphant gleam in her eye. Oh, but I can, and I will. She pulled out a folder after folder of evidence. Sketches, invoices, eyewitness accounts. Every single design you claimed as your own, mine. You are going to transfer the full ownership back to me with a public apology, or I will expose the whole sordid affair. The Ademist's face fell as the reality of the situation sank in. They had no choice but to concede defeat, handing over the company and issuing a humiliating public statement. As Amara watched the Ademi slink away, a weight lifted from her shoulders. Years of mistreatment, betrayal, and stolen dreams had finally been avenged. She had reclaimed her family's legacy and her own identity. Through it all, Adebayo was by Amara's side, supporting her, comforting her. He took her to nice dinners, surprised her with thoughtful gifts, and always listened when she needed to talk. One evening, as they sat on the balcony of their home, watching the sunset over Lagos, Amara turned to Adebayo. "Why are you doing all this for me?" Adebayo looked at her, his eyes soft with an emotion Amara afraid to name. Because I love you, Amara. This might have started as a fake marriage, but my feelings for you are very real." Amara's heart skipped a beat. She realized that somewhere along the way, between the board meetings, late-night conversations, fashion shows, and family drama, she had fallen in love with him too. "I love you too," she whispered, and leaned in to kiss him. As they broke apart, Adebayo grinned, his whole face lighting up with joy. "So, Mrs. Okafor, what do you say we make this marriage official?" Amara laughed, joy bubbling up inside her. "I say yes, 1,000 times yes." The next few months were a whirlwind of planning and preparation. Amara and Adebayo decided to have a grand wedding celebration, one that would honor their love and Amara's reclaimed heritage. The ceremony was a stunning blend of traditional Nigerian elements and modern elegance. Amara designed her own dress, incorporating intricate beadwork and vibrant colors that paid homage to her best family cultural traditions. Chidi, beaming with pride, stood beside Adebayo as the best man. As Amara walked down the aisle, she couldn't help but reflect on how far she had come. From an orphaned girl with a sketch pad and a dream to a celebrated fashion designer and the rightful heir to her family's legacy. And now, she was about to marry the man she loved, the one who had stood by her through it all. The reception was a joyous affair, filled with music, laughter, and the warm embrace of family and friends. Amara and Adebayo danced the night away, lost in each other's arms. As the party began to wind down, Amara and Adebayo slipped away to the balcony, gazing out at the twinkling lights of Lagos. Amara snuggled into Adebayo's embrace, a contented sigh escaping her lips. "I still can't believe this is my life," she murmured. "After everything I've been through, I have you. I have Chidi, and I have my family's legacy. It's more than I ever could have dreamed of." The end. Well, bestie, I hope you've enjoyed the story. Please like the video and share with your family and friends. Don't forget to subscribe, as I would love to see you again here. If you don't subscribe, I would really miss your presence. Till next time, bye.